Hey everybody, welcome back. In this video, we are going to be talking about everything that you can do in this game and how much time it takes. There's obviously some changes coming in Blitz. If you haven't seen that, did a video yesterday that discusses some of those changes for what we know right now. And I've gone into some deep WolverThor type spreadsheets to show you exactly how much time you could spend in this game. Cover every game mode. Talk about what you can do where. Even for Blitz, I take the type that goes from here and I go to the people who are down different levels down to here. So I really try to cover all aspects of this. And do you know how much time you're spending in the game? Does it take too much? Are these fixes going to do anything to help us with the quality of life aspect of the game? Because look, this game, we all love it. That's the reason I'm here talking to you, and probably the reason you're there listening to me. We all enjoy this game and we want to continue enjoying this game. So I just wanted to kind of bring this aspect to light. My hope is that you can recognize this. My hope is that Fox Next sees some of these things. I'm sure that they do, but also see where specifically they might be able to improve some aspects of this, because spoiler, I don't think these Blitz changes that are coming are going to do that much. So having said that, let's get into it.
Bring me WolverThor!
Alright, so first, obviously there's a bunch, and you guys might already know this aspect, but just to cover it for everybody, the things in games. We got challenges, we've got arenas, there's events, there's clicking these offers that pop up nonstop, which I don't cover. Let's see, we've got more offers that pop up. Milestones, you're just collecting them. Campaigns, depending where you're at the game, you might not be doing that. You get your energy here, you refresh it, you go spend it. It's like, okay. Alliance here, they're probably not doing a whole lot. You're doing your donate. You might be, researching your roster some. I do cover that a little bit. You could look at your team or your alliance mates to see how big they are there. Again, not really covering that. And then the main parts here. And one part I actually didn't cover was Dark Dimension. But I cover War, I cover Raids, and Raids, another pop-up. I've got, two. I think most of us probably have two going at a time. Sometimes you've got that gamma where you've got three going at a time. We've had it where we've had 4 raids going at a time, and War and Arena. It'd be nice when those, new Greek raids come around that, maybe there's a day gap in between so that you don't have your launching a new one while finishing up old ones. That can be, I don't account for that. And then of course Blitz. And again, depending, you can see I consider myself a pretty heavy blitzer, and I'm at about 10.2 on this one. I didn't go super hard. I'm Mr. Fantastic, but you get the idea. I'm, a pretty heavy blitzer, and then, we've got War that's, that could be a multitude of different, answers depending on how you play the game. So anyway, having said that and knowing where those things are, let's get into the actual spreadsheet and meat of this thing. Okay, first, general overview of the spreadsheet. Got to kind of show you these sections so you're, I'm going to bring you into the right solar system, planet, city, state, etc., country. So first, you can see these giant purple lines. So in this section here, I just cover regular gameplay. Then I add War, then I add Blitz, and then I even add War as a leader or captain. At the top, I've got the days, just Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday through Sunday. And then off to the side here, I've kind of got each aspect of the game. And again, regular gameplay first. And you can see I've got arena, challenges, energy, 50 refreshes in use. That's where you click up in the right-hand corner, you get your energy. I personally do it for 50 per turn. I think most people probably do that. And then using it. And then you're just miscellaneous energy use throughout the day. We've got our Alt 6 at the moment, the first run, second run. Your Greek raid, first run, second run. And again, you could do more runs than that, but in general, you get a couple runs in per raid. Ultimus 7, I don't have that in the game at the moment, but I have it as kind of a, off to the side here, so it's just kind of a mental note. Then I got a couple miscellaneous things on here where, socializing. A lot of us are in game, we chat a little bit, we might be doing things, and then roster reviewing. And then I total those up. So let's start going through this one by one and kind of see how this thing builds up over the course of the game. So again, first, arena. I've got 5 attacks, 5 minutes. Now, is each one of those 5 minutes long? No, typically not. But with as many Ultrons as there are, and on top of that, you might be looking for a fight. You're just kind of debating. It's like 5 minutes is fine. So that's ultimately 25 minutes a day, every day of the week. No big deal there. Challenges. Now this could actually be longer if you're actually conducting the challenge. You're not auto playing it. So 3 minutes could be light for you, but I thought it was a decent, a number to put in there, and it's not going to affect, I think, the overall aspect of these things. I mean, even if you put 5 to 10 minutes, it's an extra 7 minutes a day. I was comfortable with 3 because I think most of the community is likely autoing these regardless of where they're at. So, and then again, the energy 50 refreshes in use. That's when you go up in the corner, you click that little plus button to get all of your energy for the day, and you go spend it. You can do that if you're real efficient and planned within 8 minutes, sometimes less. I normally can do that in a few minutes, but I figured on average some people might not necessarily be doing it that way. So I did have this one that's sitting at 8. And then again, miscellaneous energy used throughout the day. You collect it, you go spend it again. This one could be higher as well, but I thought on average, if you're really good and efficient, 5 seemed reasonable. And again, Monday through Sunday on that. So Ultimus. First run, I have 5 times, because you should, in theory, if you plan your energy right, have 50 energy to attack this raid. For me, 3 minutes, I think that's reasonable for most people in the game. Some people are autoing, they can do it in a minute. I've done some in 15 seconds. I'm sure everybody's done the same thing. So I think, 3 minutes on average for a 15-minute run, I think that seems pretty reasonable. And again, Monday through Sunday. And then your second run, I've got it a little bit shorter where you're probably running 3 times at best. Just depending on your alliance, you're probably, lucky to get in 8 attacks because everyone's finishing that thing so quickly. Obviously some folks who might be watching this might, say, no, we've got to get more. I get it. Again, some of these things I just got to go with general averages. So I thought, 3 minutes per, attack there, and then 3 attacks on the second run seem reasonable. The first Greek raid, so the first run of your Greek raid, I've got it 4 minutes. Now, some of these, if you're on a boss node and they're later, but again, that should be on your second run. It might not be as short, but I thought, again, on average, 4 minutes seemed reasonable. And for me, for the Greek raids, you're definitely running at least 10 times on this thing if you're maximizing your energy. So for me, both those runs there is a 20-minute run at minimum. So, and that's again, Monday through Sunday. So you're adding 20 minutes for each one of those runs. Alt 7, not there, but if it was, I think it's 25 minutes. I've got 5 attempts, 5 attacks at 5 minutes each. Those nodes take a while. Now, and I think that when Ultimus 7 eventually comes back, I think they're going to be even harder. So it's absolutely going to be, I think, a 5-minute attempt or darn close to it, unless you're just getting wiped instantly. And then again, I've got the miscellaneous, socializing, roster reviewing. You could roster review for an hour if you wanted to, just going through your teams. I mean, that's part of why I do my priority videos, because I don't want to necessarily be staring at my roster for an hour a day trying to figure out what I want to do. So, but in general, I think socializing and roster reviewing is at least 10 minutes a day. It probably could be, for a lot of people, way more than that. And again, Monday through Sunday. So if you add these up, what I've done here, again, is I've just kind of summed it up where you get minutes per day and then hours per day. So in general, as you can see across the board here, we're talking about 125 minutes and a little bit over 2 hours a day. On the week, we're talking about 14 and a half hours on the week. And this is all before Blitz and War, but ultimately before Blitz and War, we're talking about, and if you look right here, you can see in the corner where I'm circling, 2.08 hours per day on the game. Okay, I mean, it's a decent chunk. I think it's, ideally you might be able to click auto or something and set it to the side. But I think a lot of the things that I'm talking about here, arena, maybe Alt 6 is your auto, Greek, probably not auto in those. Socializing, you're on your phone for those 2 hours. So anyway, let's get into War, because I think, Blitz is more complicated, but War, I think most people probably at least attempt War. All right, so for War, again, Monday through Sunday, you don't play every day, right? So what I've done is I've put them all in just the days that we have war, and then obviously your days might be slightly different, but you get the idea. You're doing war 3 times a week. You've got it where it, overlaps in the next day. What I've done to cover that is I just say see Monday, see Wednesday, see Friday, so that you can understand. I've put all of the time into the one specific day. So that's why you're seeing it, shown the way it is. And then on, the Sabbath, I've got, nobody's fighting, which is great. So, wish there was more of that. So, what I've got is 10 attacks. I thought that was a reasonable amount. I think, most people are getting at least 8 to 9. You use a little energy to get 10, and I got it 4 minutes. They can be quicker, but again, you're looking, you're thinking, you're trying to figure out what team you want. They could easily grow. It just could. So I've got it 4 minutes, and that's 40 minutes per day in theory. But basically those 10 attacks are taking you 40 minutes. Your boosts, and I did this crazy video where just showing how mad the tapping of the phone and boosting is. You could spend so much time boosting, so much time watching and boosting. I am comfortable saying I hate this dynamic of the game. I wish they get rid of it. It's not healthy. I don't think it's a good aspect of the game, and most importantly, I just don't like that people are either asked or seem to be required to do that. And I know Fox Next has said they didn't intend for that to happen that way. For me, if I owned this company, I would today take that aspect out and just say, community, we don't like how this plays in the game. We don't know what we're gonna do yet, but we're taking this out because it's not healthy, it's not good. We don't like what it does for the game. I do that right now, but I don't own the company. So anyway, or do I? I don't. So anyway, the next part I've got is we're watching, where this is just kind of like you're watching to see who might need a boost, or you're watching to see who's coming up next. There's a lot of that. And again, I don't have this as a lot, 3 times a day at 4 minutes. So it's 12 minutes per day where you're, essentially just, so this war totals up to, 67 minutes, an hour, a little over an hour per day for war. And then I add again here so you can see this. The minutes per day with what we had originally, and then war is, you can see I've got this from Monday, and then I add up to some of these. So now we're up to, about, for a war day, 3 hours and 15 minutes or so. Non-war days stay at that 2.8, and you can see it across the board here, okay? And then as you scroll over to the right, so now we're up to about 2.5 hours a day for MSF if you're talking about war. That added your, about half an hour, 40 minutes to the game, where it's like, that's probably where Fox Next got that 45 minutes a day from. But again, we don't play war one day, and then, the second days that we have war might be a little less. So it all made sense to me when I saw this pop up unintentionally. I'm like, oh, that's probably where they got that from. But I still don't, I think my numbers are pretty low in general, and I think a lot of alliances, including ours, aren't boosting as much, or just not requiring people to boost if they don't have the currency. It's too much. It's so draining. So anyway, so war, I think, adds, about, half of an hour, a little over half of an hour, or I guess technically just under half an hour, to the game, if you're on top of everything that we have before. So let's now go to Blitz. And this part gets a little bit tricky because of the different aspects people blitz in. Okay, so Blitz. Like I mentioned, this gets a little bit tricky. Lots of different aspects going on. I'll try to go through them as best I can to explain it. So the first thing I need to explain is the different charges you get throughout the week. So one, as everybody knows, you get every day, you get daily charges. You get 100 of them. If you're smart about it, you're using those, with your top teams, but that takes, 4 extra attacks to use those. On 3 days a week, you also have the challenge where you get the medical supply run, where it's you get the raid, heals, and the blitz charges. So if, depending what tier you're on, it will determine how much you actually spend. But for the sake of this specific one, I get 90 per, so it's 270. So all you really need to know is I timed these runs. So when I did these, I took for the the charges and on the daily and the challenges, it took me 78 minutes, so a little over an hour. On the regular daily charges run, it took me 39 minutes. So that's only one run per day, so I'll factor that in here when I talk about this next section. One thing I should mention is this is 15 teams timed. So that's how many slots we have is for safe teams. It's the quickest click. Some people might use 5 or 6, but again, for my purposes, I use 15. So on the regular timed Blitz run, it was 15 teams, you know, for picking opponents, all that kind of thing. It was 31 minutes. Just as a number to use, right? So now one of the things I've got to explain here is I'm using different modes of Blitz. You know, people can be crazy insane, or people can just do what I call the OG method. So I'll go through those real quick. Insane mode, you got an 18-hour day every 2 hours. Ultimately, it comes down to, technically it's 9 runs, but again, one of these runs is up here is this one. So I'm saying 8 for the purpose of the formula here, that just so it works right. So it's technically 9 runs again, one of them being this up here, but for the purposes of the math and the formula, I've got 8 here. So you'll see me multiply 8 times the time plus the one above. Hardcore mode, 14-hour day every 2 hours, essentially runs into, you know, again, 7 times 6 for the purposes of the formula. Push mode, 10-hour day every 2 hours, 5 attacks, 4 here. OG mode, this is the one I love because it was how the game started, where you basically had the 6-hour cooldown. You could do something in the morning, sometime around in the morning, something around the afternoon, lunchtime, and then something at night. So you just find 3 times a day to Blitz. That's it. You know, again, morning, middle, night. I loved it because I didn't feel like I'd have, you know, this crazy timer I had to set. I was like, oh, I'll get it in the morning, and sometime around lunch I'll play, and then when I get the kids to bed and get some time to chill at night, then I'll play. I just loved it. I don't understand why we really need to go away from that. I understand engagement's important, but man, there's so many other things in this game that engage you. Why can't we get Blitz back? You know, and again, for those, you know, who would counter argument and say, well, yeah, but you know, those who have time and want to play, typically that's kids who are outside of school, which is the summer. I personally am like, I don't want my kid or anybody's kid to feel like I'm in school, I need to go Blitz now. I need to go, hey, teacher, can I get a hall pass to go to the bathroom and Blitz? I'm sure that stuff's happening. So, it's, you know, I don't know. I mean, for health reasons alone, I think that, you know, every 2 hours is just not healthy. And there's enough stuff in this game to bring us back playing that you don't need a 2-hour cooldown. And again, this is coming from somebody who does this insane blitzing, and I don't know. I don't like it. Do I look unhealthy? Probably. You know, I'm sure I just don't think it's right. So anyway, point of the spreadsheet is that the OG mode, 2 times a day plus the, you know, the charge run. So what you can see here in the formula is basically, like I said, I've got, you know, the number of times that I'm doing the run times my regular run, you know, timed 31 minutes, and then plus whatever it is that day. So you can see, and that's how each one of these formulas is. So insane mode, you're getting, you know, 326 minutes that day with the 8 runs at times 38 plus the 78 for the charges. And then it steps down each way where it's like just a little bit less time. So you can see that it, you know, kind of steps down depending on how many times a day you're running. The days where you just get these daily charges, again, it's just the number of times you're running times the regular time run plus whatever that extra, you know, and again, in this case, it's an additional 8 minutes on your run. So that's the way that's kind of figured out. And again, this just kind of drops down and keeps going all the way across the same way. The only difference here at the end is on this Sunday, I've added the 20 minutes for the Sunday 2 Blitz orbs, or 2 orb blitzes. I personally, again, another thing, I hate this. It just, I don't know, it's too much in my opinion. I'd love for them to consolidate it into one Blitz, one orb blitz, have the milestones be all for red stars, have the potential to get, you know, premium and gold orb fragments from every win that you do. And then, you know, maybe the rewards based on where you rank are definitely red stars, and I don't know, maybe it's a gold, maybe it rotates, you know, this week it's a gold orb, this week or next week it's premium orbs. But I hate having these orb blitzes, the 2 of them at a time. It's a lot. So anyway, you can see here that if you're insane mode, this thing is ranging from, you know, 5, almost 6 hours a day to almost 5 hours a day. of just blitzing. It drops down to, and this is the part that's kind of crazy, it can still be 2.5 to 1.5 hours a day, depending how you're doing this. So that's a lot of time. And again, this is 15 teams. You could do 5 or 6, and that's fine, and that's plenty if you don't care about top 1500, etc. But this is the part where these competitive players, this is how much time they're putting in. So do you want to put in that much time to be competitive? And again, even at 3 times a day, when you're talking that, it's like, that's still a lot, and even if you're hitting auto and setting off the side, I suppose it's less time, but it's still distracting you for that 1.5 hours that you're doing that each day. So now let's add all this stuff together with the Blitz and all the stuff we talked about prior to. So let's scroll this up here. So this formula, the way it works is simple. It's just, I'm taking the Blitz section, how much that is, plus the total that we had before Blitz. That's it. That's the formula. So, and I've got it broken into these insane modes. So each day, I'm talking about this many minutes, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it varies based on, different, what's going on, Blitz, War, etc. So let's just jump to the hours. And again, this is per day in insane mode. 8.5 hours. Tuesday, 6, almost 7 hours. Wednesday, almost 8 hours a day. Thursday, 7.5 hours. Friday, 8 hours. Saturday, 6 to 7 hours. Sunday, almost 8 hours. Total time per week, 53.7 hours a week on this game, averaging out to 7.5 hours a day. That is insane. Insane. So let's just go to the OG, just because that's like, well, yeah, well, WolverThor, you're talking about just, these crazy blitzers. Fine. All right. You got me there. So, minutes, days, 5.5, 3, 4, and 8, 4, all the way across. Let's just get to the end, right? 32 hours a week, 4.5 hours a day. If you're OG blitzing, 4.5 hours a day. You got that much free time? It's a lot, man. It's a lot. I don't know for any of you guys and gals who played WoW, like, I remember having, 2 to 3 times a week where we had set raid schedules. It was like Wednesday night, get on at 7 o'clock, you raid till 9, 10, whatever it is. That was your 3 hours for sure. Just set that day. And then the other days of the week, you might, come in, you do your dailies, you maybe run a couple dungeons. It's an hour-ish here and there. So it's, it was all right. But this, MSF, doing the OG Blitz mode, you're talking about every single day, 4.5 hours. That's so much time. So want to add one more thing into this, because there are, I had a sensitivity to this one, and it's, if you're in war as a leader or captain, I added, specifically, you're looking at this, 5/4 times. The second day I put 4 because you might not be looking as much. But basically, every time you look at war, you're maybe taking 10 minutes, and it might be 5 times throughout the day. Maybe it's less, maybe it's more. But I just, this is essentially another hour a day, another half an hour a day that you're adding for the leaders. So when you look up here, and it's like, that's a lot, and you can see what I put off to the side here. Blitz adds 5 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours, depending on what you're talking about. And then if you're a leader or captain, war adds another half hour on top of that. So you're anywhere from, 5 to, even if you get it down to 4, like, geez, you're efficient. You're so efficient. I'm like an efficiency nut. I'm just kind of like, so you can see over there, like, Blitz adds 5, 4, 3, 2, and then if you're a leader, it's even more. Brah. So let's get to the conclusion of this thing. I'm going to talk in the conclusion a little bit about just these upcoming changes. What are they going to do? Again, I love this game. I love playing it. Like I mentioned in the intro, like, that's why I'm doing this. My regular job pays my bills. This does not. I'd love for this too, but it doesn't. It doesn't even come anywhere close. So, let's get to the outro and kind of wrap this thing up and talk about what I think is, coming and whether I think it's going to matter or not. So what do you think? You got that time? Time is money, right? Spend money on the game. Time put in the game. My hope here is that people recognize how much time they're putting in the game, that we can kind of push Fox next to, you know, address some quality of life things. The biggest one being Blitz. You could see that added anywhere from 2 to 5 hours of the game. You know, the other modes weren't too bad. You know, War, in theory, you know, did, you know, according to my calcs, actually add the 45 minutes that they said. Again, on average, that's, you know, 1 day without and then 2 days with, you know, less, but still, I think that's a lot. So the game on its basis, you know, or by itself was 2 hours a day, you know, and that's without War, without Blitz. So that's a lot. So, you know, when you add these 2 other very demanding game modes in, it gets to be pretty intense for any player, whether you're in, you know, high competitive end or, you know, even just, you know, kind of semi-casual. So look, we don't know what these changes are ultimately going to do or be or whatever. I mean, we saw the tier 1s getting removed. I personally don't think that's going to change that much. You still got to use all of those same teams. To me, that's what it's about. Is the time save is the times you have to play per day and the teams that you're using. That's how your time's spent. It's not how many tiers there are. So that's how I'm looking at this thing. You know, I hope that Fox Next really looks at this, because I think it's a serious quality of life issue with the game. There's so many different people who've been pushing hard at Blitz who are burning out. You know, people in my alliance, other content creators. I myself, as a kind of crazy blitzer, have been burning out on the mode a little bit. I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, I'm just autoing. I don't care. It's gonna end up wherever it's gonna end up. And that's hard. You know, it's hard to stay competitive that way. And I guess that could be point of the game. And that's what's like, yeah, that's what we want. You know. So anyway, I hope this video is helpful. You know, and I hope at worst case it makes you realize how much time you're spending in the game. And you know, again, I hope to, you know, get Fox Next to recognize this and see that, you know, maybe there are some bigger changes they need to do in Blitz, and you recognize that if these upcoming changes are the only ones, that it might not be enough. So as far as time in game. So as always, appreciate you guys stopping by. Do the like, but you gotta hammer it. Subscription, you know, share, notification bell, etc. And, you know, I could comment about that $50 I'm trying to give away in another video, but do we all want to hear that again? So, as always, thanks for stopping by.